UK economy shrinks by 4 times as much as predicted as Brexit paralysis takes hold.
Here's a summary of the article.
The UK economy shrank 0.4% in April as Brexit paralysis took hold following the proposed deadline for departure from the EU. The latest monthly fall was 4 times larger than analysts had forecast and marked the second consecutive month of contraction for the UK's economy after a 0.1% drop in March. Without car production shutdowns, GDP would have fallen 0.2% in April. Underlying growth slowed to 0.3% in the 3 months to April from 0.5% in the 3 months to March. The services sector grew 0.2% over the same period while construction was up 0.4%. The economy is now expected to shrink by 0.2%, NIESR said. We had been expecting GDP growth to be no more than 0.2% quarter-on-quarter in the second quarter, but even this muted performance is now looking somewhat optimistic, as it is hampered by some unwinding of the major stockbuilding that occurred in the first quarter amid concerns of a disruptive Brexit occurring at the end of March. With the Brexit paralysis and a slowing global economy taking its toll, we doubt GDP will grow by much more than 1.5% or so in 2019 as a whole and expect interest rates to remain on hold until the middle of next year.
This post received a score of 33,591, with an upvote ratio of 74%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
We should expect a reversal for manufacturing in May's GDP figure as production restarts. 4. Despite the weakness in April, the 3M growth figure came in at 0.3% and is a better indicator of current quarterly growth since it smooths out some of the monthly volatility. We are tracking 0.2% for the final Q2 figure, which isn't great, but people were aware of the impact of stockpiling on growth for this quarter and it's not a disaster. TLDR, growth is bad but headline misses the details. UK isn't in recession or even on track for one.
Thanks for explaining.
The United Kingdom for comparison.
Christ, it's the end of the world in that sub.
Top comment there. What about this comment seems overly hysteric to you rather than pretty accurate statements?
Its tone is mostly comedic and satirical in nature. I wouldn't take it too seriously. It does reflect the common sentiment that Brexit is stupid.
Greater than its tone is mostly comedic and satirical in nature. I can totally see John Oliver saying this. In fact, I read it in his voice in my mind.
Clearly it's time for Boris Johnson.
I'm sure his proposed tax cuts to the rich will definitely help dig us out of this hole. Edit, adding source to show that, whilst a facetious joke on my part, it actually is entirely his plan.
I find it problematic that people are goddamn fucking stupid enough to vote for the tax cuts of people not even close to your own income bracket. Are people really this dense? Is it real or is it all just a display?
Temporarily embarrassed millionaires. People vote based on their optimistic hopes of their fantasy future tax brackets.
Greater than temporarily embarrassed millionaires. Has the UK had this problem for long? It has felt more uniquely American compared to other countries for a long time, but lately the UK has been acting very American and not in a good way. Like I read that there are prominent politicians in favor of privatizing the healthcare system and making it for profit to mimic the American system now, which is insanity. I'm not from the UK, but from what I gather saying something like that 4 or so years ago would have been political suicide. I wonder how much of this we can blame on people like Steve Bannon. Rupert Murdoch has been opening this wound in the side of Western civilization across the planet, from Australia to the US to the UK, teaching boomers that they're the greatest and all-knowing despite having the least education and falling for scams far more often, and leading them into this fantasy of conservatism and science denial.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.